You're listening to Change Your POV Podcast, episode 69. So what are we going to do?
We're going to basically put ourselves out there to the point where if we don't succeed, we might as well throw in the towel. No,
Right.
I'm just kidding. So what we're going to do is this is going to be like a 30-day go for broke. We're going to get freaking healthy again.
Yeah.
From back in like when we were in the military days, you know?
Yeah.
Back to the back in the day bodies.
Welcome to Change Your POV Podcast, helping you navigate transitions in your life, like entering and exiting college or the military, changing jobs or careers, and providing you with the coaching and mentorship needed to help you advance in your personal or professional life. Sometimes all you need is to change your point of view. Now, here's your host, Eddie Lazary.
Hello, folks, and welcome to Change Your POV Podcast. I am your host, Eddie Lazary.
And I am Bennett.
And we are here talking about our next 30-day challenge. So before we get into what we're going to be doing next, let's briefly talk about what we've done.
Doing.
Yeah, what we have been doing, and we're almost done with it. So go ahead, lead off there, Bennett.
So basically, it's kind of been a get to know Eddie and I month. Just getting a little deeper than we do necessarily on the podcast and asking each other some really, poignant, serious questions, and then some, fluffy bullshit questions as well. One of our things that we were really, really working on showing is just being vulnerable in our answers and just kind of showing who we really are and how we really think. And it was just kind of a primer to get us more confident with what we are doing and everything like that. At least that's my take.
Yep. So we started this, what we called the 30-day challenge. Today is day 26, right?
7.
No, today's 26. Tomorrow's 27. So
yeah,
Sundays
I'm already on 27 because we did 26. So.
Yeah.
In my head. Yeah.
So this Sunday, this episode's releasing Friday. So if you're listening to this when it comes out, 2 more days will be our 30th day of our 30-day challenge. And yeah, man, I think we've asked each other some pretty interesting questions, I think, along the way. Some questions easier to answer than others. Some definitely more personal, I guess, than others. Yeah. Some were extremely late. Some were
so funny.
Some were longer answers than others. Yeah, we're just poking fun. Yeah. But anyway, so if you want to check it out, instead of rifling through what we ended up doing,
rifling through Facebook trying to.
Yeah. So what we would do is I would ask a question and I would post it to my Facebook page. Well, I would do the Facebook Live on my page, and then I would post the question to Change Your POV Facebook page, and then Bennett would answer his question on his page and then post it to Change Your POV. So if you want just our side of the conversation, you can go to either one of our pages, or if you want to get the questions and answers, you can go to the Change Your POV Facebook page. But I was like, man, for someone that go all the way back to day one and kind of follow along if they haven't been following along.
Yeah, I did it last night, and I was like, holy crap, man.
Yeah, you gotta go back for a while.
It seems like so much, and then you when you actually see it, in content form, you're like, holy shit, it's a lot.
It is. So what I did was to keep things simple, and for those that did not follow along real time and are still interested in going back and checking out our questions and answers, you can go over to changeyourpov.com/30-day challenge. And on that page, it'll describe what it is we were doing. And then it will have the videos, the day one question, the day one answer, and our pictures are little, what do you call it? Like the still frame at the beginning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Some of them are fucking wacky too.
Yeah, some of the still, and it's like it's VMO too. So like the still frame picture is like a little skewed, on the website. But if you click on the you click on the video, it'll pop up and you can click play and you can actually listen to our questions, listen to our answers. I have up to day 15 loaded right now. I'm going to continue to load that all the way out until we get all the way completed. So that'll page will be up forever. So if you ever want to go and check out the questions and answers, check it out. I mean, some of them are pretty good. I enjoyed when I was putting them on the website. I enjoyed going back and kind of listening some of our questions and answers. Crazy. But so that kind of got us into, all right, we're almost done with this challenge. Like, what's next?
What are we going to do next?
Well, what's now? I mean, we can't end it here. Like what? And what's funny too, Bennett, is we both found out when you went on your little hiatus because you had to do some silly thing like move,
move my ass from Delaware to New York.
Yeah, some unimportant, or
whatever
thing
and
like
start
that.
A new job.
And start a new job. I mean, whatever. Excuses, I say.
Excuses.
So you were on like a couple day hiatus, which is cool. But what was kind of interesting is, people started coming out of the woodwork on your side and on my side, like, hey, what's up?
Where's the videos, man?
Like, where's the videos? Like, you're not done yet. It's not day 30.
I had like a dozen people. Like, where's the videos? I'm like, really? We actually have people watching these videos?
Yeah, man.
other than family and friends. Like my mom. My mom was watching. Actually, she wasn't. I'm just kidding. But anyway, no, these are like people like that, I know, but they're like Facebook friends.
Right, exactly. And I got the same thing too. I'd reach out to somebody, yo, how you doing? I'm doing good. I like your videos. That's what they like. That's how they lead on.
I've seen one and
where they at?
That's just Bennett slacking. Bennett's making excuses.
He's right. So people are watching, people are digging it, which is cool, man. We're doing it to spark engagement. We're also doing it to let people know kind of more about us. I think, a little bit of vulnerability. It's a little nerve. When we first started, I was kind of hesitant, like, oh man, I don't know if I want to lay it all out there, but it is what it is, man. And if we want people to get us and understand what it is we're doing, we got to kind of, I don't know, pull back the curtain a little bit and let them take a peek behind and see what we all are about.
Now shit's about to get really real.
Yeah, so let's get into this. All right, so what are we doing next, Bennett?
We are doing, and what we decided, we went through a couple name iterations.
Yes,
but basically we're going to call it the 30-day well-fit challenge.
Yes, and it's actually up right now. It's not
complete, in its completed
form because I'm still building it out. Yeah, so you can go to changeyourpov.com/30-day well-fit challenge, all one word, no dashes or spaces or underscores or anything like that. 30-day well-fit challenge. And on that page, you can kind of start getting an idea of what it is we're going to do. So what are we going to do?
We are going to basically put ourselves out there to the point where if we don't succeed, we might as well throw in the towel. No, I'm just kidding. So what we're going to do is this is going to be like a 30-day go for broke. We're going to get freaking healthy again.
Yeah.
From back in like when we were in the military days, Yeah. Back to the freaking back in the day bodies and back in the day stuff. You know what I mean? Basically, we've both gotten old. We've both gotten complacent. We've made excuses after excuse. And now we're both fat and obese and just unhealthy. I am more obese than Eddie by outstretch the imagination.
But you are more obese than I am by 2 classes.
By 2 classes.
It turns out.
Yeah, 2 classes.
So
I'm only like 1.5 inches, 2 inches taller.
Right.
2 classes. So I go big or I go home. That's
so what we're saying about class is on that page there's a BMI calculator. So you punch in your height and your weight.
Yep.
And it will calculate for you your BMI number. And then there's a chart there that will tell you based off your BMI. And the BMI stands for body mass index. And now again, folks, I know muscle weighs more than fat and da. So you could literally have a high BMI and still be extremely in shape, right?
Correct.
But this, I mean, in all honesty,
it's just there's got to be some kind of litmus where
Right.
start.
Right. We have to figure out
some kind of measure.
where are we and are we making progress? Because sometimes just, weighing yourself and just getting a poundage decreases just isn't enough, right? So part of this is it's not just losing weight. It's about, again,
Being
back to the
healthful.
name, well fit challenge. So it's about being well, it's about being fit, and of course it's definitely going to be a challenge. So we're shooting for this coming Monday. So July, what is that? July 18th?
Well, the 15th, 16th, yes, the 18th.
So July 18th, we are going to go live on this 30-day well fit challenge. And you go over to that page, what's going to happen is Bennett and I are going to take pictures, take a first or day one picture of ourselves, and it will be on that page underneath. So at the top of the page, it'll kind of describe what it is we're doing, what our goals and objectives are. It'll explain the BMI and how we got there. It'll have the chart, and then you scroll down a little bit, and there'll be a picture of me and a picture of Bennett, and it'll have our starting weights, our starting BMI numbers, and then there'll be basically two columns running down the page. So you keep scrolling down, it'll just be two columns.
Left side's mine, the right side's Eddie.
Yep.
And it's freaking we're gonna have daily journal entries,
yes,
achievements. We're gonna talk about our struggles and our thoughts. And
yes,
days are gonna suck, but there's also gonna be awesome days. So,
and we're gonna lay it all out there,
Yeah, man.
The good, bad, and the ugly. Seriously. And we decided, this is not about it's not just about losing weight. It's about
losing weight. It's about getting fit. I mean,
getting fit.
Obviously, if we do that vicariously, we're going to lose weight.
Right. And so for a diet, we chose the book, the Paleo Primer, which, by the way, I just got in the mail today, Bennett.
Beautiful. I'm glad you got it.
Thank you very much. I knew exactly what it was when I was sitting on my porch.
In that nice brown container from Amazon.
Yes. So we both have this book if you want to follow along. And that's what's different about this 30-day challenge from the last 30-day challenge. Last 30-day challenge, we did invite people to come on and offer comments or whatever, but nobody was, we didn't ask anybody really to, record videos per se, except for one day 11, I did ask you to find a couple people to respond, which they did, and those videos are available as well. But what we wanted to do with this 30-day challenge is we're doing this shit with or without you, come hell or high water. But we wanted to give anyone that kind of wanted to play along
and participate,
the option to do that. So we are using the Paleo Primer, the Paleo Primer, a jumpstart guide to losing body fat and living primally. And that link to that is on that page. You can click on it and buy yourself a copy from Amazon and follow along as well. And then we are going by Monday it's not available yet because we're still writing it, but by Monday, by the time you are listening to this, wait for 2 more days and we will have what are we coming up with? We're coming up with
workout schedule.
Yep. You're writing the fitness workout schedule, and I'm going to be putting together some a printable version of a daily journal that'll be structured
like a log.
A log. It'll be structured just like ours, so it'll look like ours. Everything that we're going to provide you, it's going to look just like what we're doing. And the only thing you got to do is you got to go and just buy the book. We're not going to be giving those out for free, but go buy the book. How much was it?
Well, the hard copies, it's not hard. It's a paperback, but it's $15.95 for the paperback. Okay. So it's a little pricey on that, but you can get the Kindle version for 10 something.
Yeah, but get the hard copy, man.
I mean, I agree. It's got great stuff in it. It's a book. I've had it for years. And the reason I chose that book is because, the reason that I chose the Paleo Primal type way, because I basically told Eddie that's what we were going to do. He didn't have a whole lot of say in it, at least not at first. Because in the last 15 years, I've been on a constant yo-yo with my weight. Actually, really for since like the 90s. So, since I got out of the Marine Corps, really. And even the whole time I was in the Army, the best time that I ever felt was about a 2-year block. And that's when I was living completely paleo. That's the way I was eating. Paleo or primal, if you don't know what that is, just go ahead and look it up. that's what we decide. Basically, it's kind of a manly way to eat. It's like meat, vegetables, you know what I mean? Basically no processed foods, no grains, things like that. A lot of people are going to have trouble giving up bread and pasta and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's not good for you in any form or fashion. And I fully believe in it. It's scientifically very viably proven. And I have a gluten sensitivity anyway. So it kind of, whenever I eat gluten, I get really bad back pain and I get really bad heartburn. So I might as well just stay away from it, period. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I have not, because pizza's good. Stuff is good, man. Food, I like fucking donuts. I like power rings. That's what I call them, if you didn't know.
No, I didn't know that.
Power rings.
Okay.
That's you can take that to the bank.
That's an official term.
Trademark. So yeah, man. So basically I've been on both sides of this completely. I am the heaviest I've ever been. I am at the lowest of low, at least with my weight, health-wise, that I've ever been. Period. Yeah. Is right now. Well, actually, it's not right now. It was like a month ago.
All right, folks, I'm going to pause it right here for 1 second and just talk to you about, well, probably something you guys are wondering in your heads right now. How is it that a couple of military veterans, a couple of Army and Marine Corps veteran can get to the point in their life where they are where they are? You know, using words like let themselves go. Do they not care anymore? Do they not care about themselves? Do they not care about their families? Like, how is it possible that these veterans can let it get to this point? How does anyone let it get to this point? But how do military veterans? I mean, they lived and breathed this elite lifestyle and worked out and was extremely physically fit, and it was a very demanding job. How did they let it happen? Well, that's a good question. And it's the same question that was asked of Tony Robbins by a Marine officer. Let's just listen in on this snippet from one of Tony Robbins' programs.
I was doing a speech recently, not that long ago, for the Marines. And the general asked me to come in and speak, and he wanted me to talk to the Marines on raising their standards. The Marines raising their standards. This is an interesting process, right? And he's a great guy, and he's a big fan of mine. And he said, what can we do for you? And he said, because, we don't usually have the kind of budget to pay for a person like you. And I said, listen, I'll come in for free. I do government work always for free. And I said, so if it's just a talk, I'll be happy to serve. And he said, well, I got to do something for you. He said, you know what? How about I make arrangements for you to play with all our toys? Like shoot some M16s and drive some tanks and fly some Apache helicopters. And I'm like, yes. Man, all the girls listening are going, what are you talking about? But guys understand this. So it was very cool. So I'm very excited. I'm going to go use all these things, and I'm excited about my talk. And he wanted everyone to hear me. And there was a group of 300 men that were out on the survival course that's supposed to be 6 days. And they had been 3 days without food. And they're out literally in the middle of this area. And he decided they don't want to miss the talk, so he wanted to bring them back for my talk. So I'm standing out there, and I don't know, a couple thousand Marines everywhere I can see, and they're standing there, these 300 guys, in full gear, battle gear, in the hot sun at 12 noon with about 98 degrees, and they got their black war paint on, and they're holding their M16s in their hands. And I'm thinking, I better do a good job here, And so I thought, oh my God, I got to make sure my standard's high. So I did my talk with these guys, with them for about 3 hours, supposed to be an hour and a half, and they went for it and I went for it. We just went till we got the result, because it wasn't about the action plan. It was about doing whatever it took to get them where they needed to be. And at the end, you got chills as these people were doing this incantation that we do called I Am the Voice. It was amazing. Some of you have been to my seminars, you know what I'm talking about. But all these Marines doing this, and the general afterwards, he was driving me in his car, and we're going to go see this Apache helicopter, and I'm juiced, and he's juiced, and he said, Tony, he said, I've never seen anything like that. That is extraordinary. And I said, well, thank you so much, sir. And he said, I got to ask you a question, though. He said, you got them to raise their standards today immensely. And he said, not all of them will keep those standards, but he said, I know some of those men, they were moved today. But I got to tell you, even without you, we get them to raise their standards. He said, in fact, most of these people, most of these men and women have the highest standard today as a Marine that they'll ever have in their life. And he said, sad, because when they leave this environment, he said, their standards will drop for a lot of them, for the majority of them, Tony. And he said, why do you think that is? Is it because people don't care? Is it because people are basically lazy? Is it because people have to be supervised like children? I mean, why is it that people lower their standards like that? And I said, sir, it's not that people are lazy. It's not that they don't care. It's that most people's lives are a direct reflection of the expectations of their peer group. He looked at me and said, wow, that's heavy. And I thought, yeah, that's good. I should write that down. Right? And I said, let me say that again, sir, so I could remember it, of course. I said, most people's lives are a direct reflection of the expectations of their peer group. Everybody in life has standards for themselves, but we all have certain needs. And one of those needs we talked about earlier is the need for love and connection. One of those needs is the need to feel like we're significant or important to the people around us. And the people that have the power to make us feel loved or unloved, the people we give that power to are the people we call our peers. Now, for some people, the peers are their family. For some people, the peers are their friends at home. For some people, they have their peers at work. But anybody who you care how they feel about you has the power to influence the way you think to some extent. Now, some people are completely influenced by their peers, and some people tend to lead their peers. But everyone is influenced to some extent. And the reason is because we all want this love and connection. So when I say that most people's lives are a direct reflection of the expectations of their peer group, here's what that means. If you have a peer group of people who you care how they feel about you, and they have a lower expectation for what they want for their body, for example. Let's say they're comfortable with being overweight. Then if you have a higher standard, it's going to bother you to see that they're overweight. But because they're your friends, you don't want to make them wrong all the time, and that would feel terrible. You love them. Plus, they don't want to feel like they're not significant either. So they're not going to try and pull you down because they don't love you. They're going to go, hey, it's just one piece of chocolate. Come on, it's just one more bite. Come on. Oh, stop being so rigid. And all they're doing is trying to make sure they don't lose you. Because everybody senses that if you have a higher standard, that they're not as important. If you have a higher standard, they feel less significant. If you have a higher standard, you might not feel as connected. So people become vested very often in bringing you to a lower standard of where they are. Now, the opposite happens. If you join a group of people that have a higher standard than you have for your life, just to stay in that peer group, you have to raise your standards, don't you? To be a Marine, you got to raise your standards. To be in the airborne, you got to raise your standards, right? If you're going to play that same example I gave you, tennis, and you're playing against people much better than you are, you're going to get better because you have to, just to stay in rapport, just to stay in the game, just for them to want to visit with you. Because otherwise they're going to get bored. And that's true of emotions, that's true of spirit, that's true of economic success, that's true of how much negativity you're willing to put out or not. Whoever you're around, here's the simple thought. Whoever you spend time with is who you become. If you lie down with dogs, you come up with fleas. It's an old phrase, it's another one of those cliches, but it is so true. Because who you spend time with is who you become, because eventually, if you got higher standards, one of two things are going to happen. Either you're going to get them to raise their standards and you're going to lead them to a new level, or you're going to get frustrated, burn out, tired, or going to comply with their standards sooner or later out of your need for love. So in life, here's what you got to do. A lot of people say, yeah, but my peer group's my family. Oh, no. Here's what you got to do. Love your family, pick your peer group, right? Because a lot of family members are not the right people to be influencing how you feel because a lot of them have their own stuff. So you got to pick your peer group and love your family, because you got to love your family whether they're nice or not. That's just about being a human being, right? So when I say to tap into the seventh power, it's the power of environment. It's the power of picking a peer group that has a higher standard. So if you want to make sure this plan you follow through on really occurs, you got to get somebody else who's already living that way. If you pick a buddy who's also struggling to work out, the two of you will find yourself at Starbucks instead of at the stairs. You can't let that happen. Find somebody who's already succeeding. That's why hiring a coach is so valuable, because you know they can't cop out. That's their job, and you know they live it every day. But if you get somebody who's equally struggling as you are just because they give you good company, I can promise you the two of you are unlikely to hit the ultimate level you're after. You got to get around people with a higher standard. Now, if you get that person and you take your friend with you, and the two of you have someone who's a higher standard, and you both care how they feel, or you've hired them so you have to follow through, then you got a different game, don't you? then things are going to actually occur. That's why I so believe in coaching. I mean, my favorite thing is to make sure that when somebody has an immersion program like this, there's someone to walk you through making sure you take action. So I really encourage you to call our company and get yourself a coach. Start out for 90 days. At the end of 90 days, if you're not thrilled, you can end it. But you won't. You'll find these coaches will make a difference in your life long term. Because what coaches are people that have a higher standard and they have an entire focus to make sure you follow through, and you can't manipulate them. Because they care about you, they care enough to not let you lie to yourself, not distort things. And they'll help you get disturbed if you're not. And they'll do it in a way that's elegant and respectful. They'll help you make these decisions. They basically get you to do these 7 steps on a regular basis instead of you hoping that it works out. So that's why coaching is so valuable. But you got to create an environment where you are reinforced for doing what it is you're really committed to. You've got to make that happen if you're going to succeed. And by the way, pick an environment that also reinforces you, like we talked about earlier, for the small wins. You got to have somebody that not only will challenge you, but you got to make sure you get rewarded. So if they don't do it for yourself. Like if you're going to learn to play the game of golf, for example, it can be a bit overwhelming unless you focus when you go out and play, not on all the shots you missed, but on the ones you made. If you go out and say, okay, I scored 138 today, and these guys, they hit a 62. This is a bit depressing. It seems overwhelming. So what you got to do is instead, you got to keep track on every hole. You did 2 great putts. You had a great drive. You write down those and you forget the stuff that doesn't matter, because if you keep focusing on the failure, you never get the success. Remember, you can only build on success. And if you got a great peer group, they're going to challenge you, but they also should be able to reinforce you for your progress, not somebody who is so in need of significance themselves that they can't acknowledge you as well. It's an important point to remember. And also remember this, you're going to get off track. You're going to screw up. The secret is not do you fall down. The secret is do you sit there on the ground and cry and complain and talk about how you always do this and you sabotage yourself and tell a story, or do you get your butt back up immediately and start running? And the other thing is, don't make this more complex than it needs to be. I was talking to this woman the other day, and she was majorly overweight, and she was saying, yes, well, I'm going to put my plan together. When I get back home, I'm going to go do research on the very best trainer possible and, make sure that they have all the best distinctions and tools. And, within 2 weeks, I'll get started. I said, ma'am, with all due respect, you're so overweight, you don't need a sculpting genius. You need a big guy behind you to yell, run! Right? That's what you need. You don't need some massive, detailed plan. You need some momentum here. Don't be telling yourself this big story. Just go do it. Because that's what this is all about. In the end, it's about doing it. It's about living it. It's about experiencing it. It's about not settling. Figure out who you're going to do that with, though. Who are you going to do it with, or who are you going to share the victory with, or who are you going to tell your commitment to? Make sure you decide that right now. Who will you share this experience with? Who will you commit to? Who will hold you to that standard for real and not let you off the hook? Who will be leading you by example and you will not want to lose face with, so you will follow through even when it's uncomfortable and it's uneasy, and therefore you'll achieve the experience called the real you, where you'll have the experience of remembering who you really are and having your life reflect it, where your life reflects a person who lives at the edge. And I don't mean the edge of challenge. I mean the edge that reflects someone who is sharp. Someone who can make anything they think about happen in their life. Someone who knows that it's all about enjoying your life and producing the results. It's not about talking about the story about why it didn't happen, it can't happen now, and all the reasons. Give up the story, go for the results. Take this RPM plan you've created and turn it into reality, and start to experience the pride that comes when you're one of those people that doesn't have to explain why they aren't achieving, but who gets to share the joy of what you've accomplished, and you can share with other people how you did it, because you're conscious in your process. See, that's a life that's fun. That's a life at the edge. That's a life that's extraordinary.
Well, that's it, folks. I could not have said it any better than Mr. Tony Robbins himself. He just wrapped up in a nice, neat little bow for everyone listening to this, why Bennett and I are choosing to go down this road. Choosing to challenge ourselves, to challenge each other. And the good news is we both need it, and we're both there for each other, and we will be there for each other. So I just had to include that in this show just to give you some sense for kind of, I bet you a lot of people listening to this can probably relate to a lot of what's said in this episode and a lot of what Tony had just got done telling all of us.
It's time to get it on. get it off.
It's time to fucking do this shit, right? Yeah.
And go back to what we know, and you know, when I felt the best that I felt in years physically, it was because I was living a paleo lifestyle. And that's what we're gonna do for at least 30 days, and probably forever, because I really just want to stay that way. I want to eat that way. I want to stay that way, and just, you know, it's better for my family. Everybody does better that way. So that's it.
So your wife obviously knows we're doing this?
Yes, of course.
What does she think about it?
Yeah, of course she wants me to, because then she can see my dick again.
Nice.
Hey,
okay.
All I know is every 10 pounds of extra weight, you like lose like a half inch. Just saying. I'm putting it out there, ladies and gentlemen. You lose it.
Okay.
That's as far into it as I'm gonna get, but
no, that was enough, man.
Shut up.
So that's gonna be our slogan.
That's it
for this, so we can see our dicks again.
Yep, pretty much.
So all right. No, so I haven't even told you yet this, Bennett. So you're gonna learn this for the first time as well.
Oh, wow.
So I have sometimes a difficult time, like, I don't know how to say this. I don't have a difficult time finding motivation necessarily, but sometimes I don't always remember or keep in the forefront of my mind, like, what it is I'm doing and why I'm doing it, right?
Yeah.
And so I wanted to come up with a way for you and I to, like, I don't know, for it to be like a constant reminder aside from the fact that we're going to be journaling every day and we're going to have videos every day. So it's going to be in the front of our mind every day anyway, but I wanted like this constant, like, no bullshit reminder. And the only thing I can think of is, many of the listeners know, some may not, but I lost 2 soldiers in Iraq, and I have, you know, the bracelets that you wear with the name and the, you know, the country and the date that they were killed right on there. And so I have got a bracelet, you know, I think one of them was nickel and the other one's brass or something. I can't remember. But I got these bracelets that I don't wear them together because they clang, clang, clang and make all kinds of noise. So I just wear one at a time. But I got this bracelet that I wear all the time. And it's just, you know, a lot of people, sometimes I forget it's there, but when I do, I catch it out the corner of my eye, look at it. And it's just this, it's not that I'll ever forget my guys or losing them in Iraq. I mean, I was there. I'll never forget it. But it's just this constant, every time I see it, it reminds me that I'm grateful for what I have in my life and in my family, because, you know, it's too easy, you know, the lives that are lost and that paid the ultimate sacrifice. Sometimes those of us that made it through, sometimes it's easy to forget, not them, but it's easy to forget those sacrifices because we take things for granted. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
And so I wanted to come up with a way where you and I, that it means that much to us. So because doing this is more than just a 30-day challenge. It's about a lifestyle change, because I'm not happy with myself. I'm not happy with my weight. I'm not happy with how out of shape I am. I'm just not happy. And in order to regain that happiness back, in order to be happy with myself again, I have to do this, man. I have to.
Yeah.
And so what I did was I am in the middle of creating bracelets. So I'm going to make a bracelet for myself, and I'm going to make one for you. I told my daughter about it. She's like, make one for me. I'm like, all right, I'll make one for you. So what it is, I wanted it to kind of represent what it is we're doing. And before I describe the bracelet, so everybody knows, our goal, we've got, it's basically a 4-part goal, and I made it into an acronym, and the acronym is WORK, WORK, right? And W stands for weight loss. O stands for own our diet, because so often we let diet own us, right?
Oh, hell.
And
yeah.
Yeah, right. So W is weight loss, O is own our diet, R is reclaim our physique, and K is keep a healthier lifestyle. So again, WORK, weight loss, own our diet, reclaim our physique, and keep a healthier lifestyle. So this bracelet is black leather, black because changing to POVs, kind of basic colors, black and green and white, right?
Yep.
So it's black leather, and it's this black leather because it's kind of resemblance of the paleo side of things, right? Keeping it real, keeping it authentic, keeping it organic. And there's nothing speaks more organic to me than leather. So it's black leather. And then I've got the the beads that have the letters in them.
Yep.
So on one side it says the beads are work, WORK, to represent our goals. And on the other side it's POV, which of course stands for point of view. And then in the middle is a wooden bead. And again, I chose wood because it's organic, it's earthy. So we got leather and we got wood, which brings us back to our primal selves. And that bead in the middle stands for us. Because if the reason we're doing this isn't for us, it can be for other reasons, I get it. But if the number one reason isn't for ourselves, then any other reason or any other cause, it'd be just a futile endeavor, I think. And then all of the beads are held together, wrapped around this black leather band by basically it's almost like hemp twine. Again, it's very earthy, very organic, and it's green. So you got the change your POV colors in here, man.
Yeah, man.
So I'm creating these, and I'm going to mail you your bracelet, and I'm going to have mine on as a reminder. And once I get it done, I'll take a picture of it. But I'm thinking I'll post a picture of it on that page. And for anybody that wants one, I'll figure out a pretty cheap price for it, and then I'll put it up there. And if you want it, I'm not going to make a whole bunch of these things and just sit on them. If you want them, then I'll have a way for you to buy it, and then I'll create it and get it mailed out to you. So if you want to participate, you can get the book. You're going to get the workout thing for free, and the log journal will be a free downloadable as well. And then if you want, and don't have to, but if you want the bracelet, then you can get that on that page as well.
Well, there you go.
So,
that's awesome.
So that's it. So we're starting Monday, man.
That's it.
And yeah, go for broke, man. We got to do this.
No,
got no choice.
It's on. We're putting all the work into it, so let's put the work into it.
Yeah, man. All right. So wrapping things up, you will find all of the show. Well, you'll have the show notes for this episode, but really, the show notes will be over at changeyourpov.com/episode 69. But if you want to check out everything we're talking about, there will be a link on that show notes page as well. But if you want to check it out right now, you can go to changeyourpov.com/30-day well-fit challenge. I know it's a mouthful, but it accurately represents what it is we're doing. And then I think, just kind of a teaser, I think maybe after this, if this goes well, I think we're going to maybe do another 30-day challenge, maybe a 30-day finance challenge.
Yeah, which we've already talked about too.
Yeah, maybe a 30-day journaling challenge, maybe a 30-day, I don't know. The sky's the limit. We're going to keep doing these, though.
Yeah, man.
And if nothing else, you can watch us do them, because that's what we're doing. We're doing them. You can watch and participate.
Yeah, buddy.
All right. Very cool, man.
All right, man.
All right, never miss an episode. Hit subscribe on your podcast player of choice. You'll never miss out on an episode. We have a lot more great content headed your way, Max Hedron and all. Come be a part of our community over at Change Your POV. It's our Facebook group, or it's our Facebook page, where you can check us out. We got all kinds of crazy videos and things going on over there. We also have a group page, which is Change Your POV Squad. So if you want to be a member of our squad, head on over to Change Your POV Squad, and there you can meet guests that have been on the show. You can interact with one another. You can, poke fun at us. Whatever the case may be, head on over. It's great fun. And that's it, man. Until next time.
Yeah, buddy.
Thanks for listening to Change Your POV podcast with Eddie Lazary. Check out more content by going to changeyourpov.com. And remember, your ability and willingness to change your point of view will open doors of opportunity.